All right, thing. We are live. The final slap. What a phenomenal episode it was. Once again, 3 great matchups. Things are starting to take shape. Joshua Newson. Do we have a new superstar on the rise?
Yeah, listen, man. I mean that cool, calm, collective demeanor, and then just delivering that kind of knockout, and then he starts to talk. Right? It's like, now I've done it. Now I get to say my piece. Seemed like a quiet guy. The powers that be seem to love his personality. I love his personality. We didn't get to speak to him last time he had a fight. Unfortunately, he had some work conflicts. But we're gonna get to speak to him this time, man. And I could not be more excited.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal performance. I mean, Rayden, a great guy. We know the story that he's gone through. We know he lives it. He's got the tats. He loves this shit. We know he's working really hard every single day. We see him working on the IG. He's on there live talking the sport, truly loves it in, all of his capacity that he has, So, but seeing going up against Josh Newsom, it's proven that there's levels to this. Josh was able to take care of it in a phenomenal fashion. I know it's some recency bias, but I mean, I think there's something here with this kid. Like, I really liked what I see from him. Hopefully we see him in Abu Dhabi. Obviously we know we didn't get anything. We were trying to get some intel from Dana in the actual chat itself. We weren't able to, but we do know 3 matches. I teased it on the IG live. We are going to have Ron Wolverine Beta joining us to close out the show. So you want to make sure you stay tuned to that. Ron is always, a great talk. He's a veteran. He always gives us a ton of tidbits. He wears his heart on his sleeve when he talks to us. So we appreciate every time Ron gets to come on. We're going to get his opinions on what he thinks about Austin Turpin versus Russell Rivera. We'll get back to him about what he thinks that could potentially mean for the entire light heavyweight division. And, obviously he'll be watching the show. So we'll be talking about Road to the Title Season 3 as well and how it takes place. Let's talk about Brandon Kerr. I got to say, fellow Canadian.
There we go. That's it. Finally, some Canadians take a fucking L, dude. Took long enough. God damn, dude.
Did you see this one coming?
Well, they were smart, man. They didn't show all the stuff in the back with the other guys, right? Like the Blakes and the I think he got into it with Rhodes. I mean, I think Dana was right, man. He got into it with everybody at some point in time. So I think I thought the soccer kick was a bit much, right? Even though the Chief said, it didn't hit him clean or anything like that, but still, just the attempt that you would try to kick somebody in the head when they're down and being restrained that's pretty rough. And like Dana said, from a security perspective, from a safety perspective, it didn't seem like he was a guy that was really making a lot of friends. And you don't need that type of stuff, right? Where you're concerned about safety when you're just trying to put on events, make sure people can fight, and show the skill set.
100%. I mean, where do you think that leaves Brandon now? I mean, we still see him promoting, still, they were even promoting him going into this week. Do we think he's still on the roster? Do we think he's been released?
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt he will be on the roster after this season. I mean, that's not to say I think he should or shouldn't be. That's not for me to decide, but I'm just saying, if they're kicking you out the house, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's done enough to be like the bad guy that they would want him, because maybe they assume that people will tune in to watch him. But I don't even know if that's the case. It's not like he had like an incredible first fight, right? He had all the flinching fouls, which is something we'll talk about. I'm surprised we actually haven't talked about it yet, but we talked about it behind the scenes with the way that fight went. But yeah, I just don't know that there's a big appetite and every striker that I've seen doesn't like the guy. I've never heard one person say good things about him.
Well, I mean, we have a new nickname for him, the Master Flincher. We've seen that on this past episode. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, I guess he's kind of the Slap Jesus season 3. I guess that's kind of the official. I know Slap Jesus didn't get, kicked off the show per se, but immediately after Power Slap #1 ended up getting his release after that. After him and Kale Chris got into an altercation, at a venue outside of the Apex in Las Vegas. So I think it's official. Brandon Kerr is the new Slap Jesus. Yet to be told if we'll see him again. But we've got our first guest waiting in the wings. Let's bring him in phenomenal fashion, I got to say. Joshua Newsom, how you doing?
Yes, sir. How y'all doing, man?
Really good. Incredible performance, my man.
Appreciate
Congratulations
it.
on that victory right off the top. Rayden running his mouth before, you staying very calm, cool, and collected. You
Yeah.
made him eat his words. How good did that feel, taking home that victory?
It felt great, honestly. Word around the house was he was talking a lot anyway. You know, some of the producers were telling me, like, man, this guy he's running his mouth. And I'm like, I'm usually more on the laid back side. I don't really do too much talking. I like to put in the work, and then you see the result and you get that. But yeah, that's really not my style. So I love to go up there and do what I said I was gonna do, and make him shut up.
I mean, you had a massive slap score advantage going to this one, about 270 different between you and Rayden. Did you know that there was such a discrepancy in the measurables before going into this?
I don't even remember actually seeing my actual slap score until like later watching the actual season and they showing it. I don't know if they showed us, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know there was such a big difference between the slap scores between me and him.
Gotcha. I'm just curious, what's your walk around weight? Because you seem to be pretty slender for the 185.
Um, 195 maybe. I
Okay.
usually don't go too far from 185. It go to 195, 190. So anytime I gotta do a weight cut, it's really not a weight cut. I just maybe eat one meal today and tomorrow, and I'll be 185 in no time.
Gotcha. So that's kind of where you feel most comfortable. That's where you think we'll see you next.
Yeah, I'll probably stay around 185. I mean, I've always been in the gym consistently. I've always been an athlete, so I've never not worked out in some type of fashion, and this is usually where my weight just stays 85, 90, 95.
Gotcha. Talk to me about Austin Turpin and how much he played into your performance.
Ah, man, I love Turk. I usually don't gravitate towards louder people, but it's hard not to like Turk, man. He gets you hyped. He gets a fire on your ass, and he's just like he makes you want to go out there and act just like him. Like, but I couldn't ask for a better coach.
Mhm. One last one from me. Talk to me about performing in the Apex with nobody in the audience. Obviously, Dana's there. Some of his friends and celebrities, we see make appearances throughout the seasons. But talk to me what it's like to be in, a fairly silent room as you're performing in one of the biggest moments of your life.
Um, uh, it doesn't really bother me. Like once I got on stage, I've only paid attention to my opponent. Like I used to wrestle in high school, and sometimes the stadium was packed, and sometimes it'd be nothing but the other team and the coaches. So I'm pretty used to it been a lot of people or no people. Either way, I kind of block all of that out, and I'm just focused on doing the job I need to get done.
Josh, great to talk to you, man. Congratulations on a great victory. Obviously,
Appreciate it.
we didn't get to talk to you after the first one. What do you think was the difference for you as far as not only kind of what you knew going in there, obviously it being your first time against Fabricio, but also, obviously two different opponents, but you get a much more emphatic finish in the second one, right? And Rayden's a guy who actually won his first fight. What do you think the major differences were between your first fight and your second fight on the show, even though they were, a week apart?
Probably just practice routine. And then I wouldn't say I was nervous going into the first one, but it is the first one, so you're kind of thinking about everything. We practiced a little bit, but not as much as the time we had between the first fight and the second fight. So just knowing that I went every day and we kind of drilled the technique and drilled the hand placement and all that, so I felt a lot more comfortable in the second one. Like, okay, I can throw this slap with full power and be comfortable, and I'm not worried about stepping. I'm not worried about clubbing. It just felt way more comfortable. So I knew the result would be 10 times better.
Yeah, and then talking about your slap, obviously the precision. I made note of this the first time around, and in this sequence against Rayden, the angle that they show was a little different, but I watched it a couple different times and was able to see that it looked like your windup was the same as the first. I've never seen a windup like yours, and what I mean by that is when you pull back, it's almost at a specific cadence, and then you sort of let it go a little bit faster each time you wind up. So it's like you're almost launching it. So it's almost like a mechanical thing. Like you come back and then you launch, and then you come back slowly and then you launch. Where'd you learn that from? What's the thought process
Um,
behind that?
that comes from me throwing discus in high school. Our coach, we had multiple different ways to throw it, but he taught me a specific way to where we had to spin the whole body and engage the hips a lot more. So when I'm doing that, the only thing I'm really doing is rotating my hips as much as possible and then kind of just releasing them to turn with it. And That's really where that comes from. Just throwing a discus and engaging the hips.
That's incredible insight, man. At one point in time, right after the fight was done, Dana said to you, "Shoulder good," and you kind of paused for a moment, and you were like, "Yeah, it's all good." What was that about? Is there something that we missed with your shoulder?
No, I didn't have any shoulder injuries or anything. I'm guessing just because I threw a hard slap or something, but it kind of threw me off guard a little bit. But I never had any type of injuries or any type of pain or anything. So I'm guessing he just said it because it was a pretty decent slap.
And then my final one before we kind of look at your fight. Obviously, you're an Army veteran. I don't remember exactly if you said what your MOS was, but what in throughout your career in the Army kind of would you say helped you or prepared you at all, if anything, for your moment up there on stage?
Well, I went in as a military police, but I ended up doing about 3 years of being a combat trainer. So I trained people on how to fight hand to hand, use weapons, and also we did a lot of tournaments, wrestling, striking, and all of that. So I'm pretty used to being one-on-one, me and you in front of an audience, and may the best man win. So it's this kind of pretty much the same thing. It's just obviously it's slapping and study wrestling or boxing or whatever technique we're doing for that drill.
Awesome, man. And then I actually thought of one last one where you're saying that you had a pretty funny reaction last week. If I'm not mistaken, it was last week when Riley put Blake's
Oh man.
Riley put Blake's he put Blake's dentures in his mouth. Talk to us about what we didn't see.
That took me off guard. I heard him say, "Let me put it in," but obviously nobody actually expected him to put that in his mouth. I was like, bro, you got to be the nastiest person alive. You put that smoking man's dentures in your mouth. Right? I mean, I love Rayden to death. He's me and him in the house were like the closest to. Like, he's the one I talk to the most. Man, that part threw me way off.
That was hilarious, man. Thank you for that. All right, Core, let's get into his fight, man.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get your commentary along with the fight. Want to know every kind of what's going through your mind frame as you're getting up there on stage.
Well, honestly, I wasn't nervous at all to take this hit. I've seen him go toe-to-toe with Neil. I knew he's had to come with way more power to put me out. So I knew I was going to eat this with no problem. The only thing I was thinking about really was making sure I was slowing down on my actual strike so I wouldn't get fouls. So during this, I was already thinking about my turn because I knew this wasn't going to be a problem for me at all.
Yeah, so we see him very slow, deliberate, talking between every strike or every wind up. Like, did it phase you at all?
No, not at all. I'm used to people talking. I mean, it's what people do. You gotta hype yourself up. You gotta be some type of confidence. But I'm a man of results. So,
Core, can you rewind that 15? Like with I don't know if it does allow you on your end. If you hit the little on the left side. Yeah, hit that. All right. Now watch this replay and look at Rayden. I didn't see this the first time. I saw comments about it. And I just want to be fair here. He moves a ton. Oh my goodness.
The right foot.
Did you?
I had a lot of people just recently actually hit me in my DMs and like they zoomed in on the video. Like, bro, he double stepped on you. I never really noticed that until people started pointing it out to me.
Who do you think hit harder between your two matches?
Definitely for Brice. I honestly didn't feel anything from Rayden. For Brice was a much bigger guy. So I mean, one of his hits, I think it was the second one, actually made my ears ring for a few seconds. I didn't do any damage, but I did feel ringing in the ear. But Rayden, it was nothing.
I didn't see that the first time.
Rock the baby.
The Westbrook. I had to pull out something. I was like, man, this guy's talking a lot. Okay, I got to do a little something. I'm usually pretty calm, like, okay, it is what it is. But, all right, you kind of asking for this one.
Dude, this is great to see this side of your personality because, to be honest with you, up until this moment, and obviously the thing with the dentures in the house, we didn't really hear a whole lot from you. So to see like you actually have personality and obviously you have a significant skill set. I feel much better, man. I'm a fan.
Appreciate it, man. I know a lot of people are like, man, you're too laid back, you're too calm, you don't talk enough. I was like, man, I can't help it. It's just, I mean, obviously I can talk my shit like everybody else, but it's just pretty rare for me to get into that type of a zone. I've never been the person to have to hype myself up to do something. I can go in calm, cool, collected, and do what I need to do.
Dude, how do you get your hair to go from this to the afro we've seen later?
I had that hairstyle in for too long. Actually, it was starting to lock up. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to take this out here now. And then they had barbers at the house. But I was trying to ask them, maybe can you get somebody that like knows how to braid hair? Like, I don't need a haircut. If you can braid it back, get it out of the way. But it was like, no, we don't have any people to braid. So I was like, fuck it, we'll just go with the fro. Let me get a comb, and here we go.
I was going to say that kind of looked like the wet dog look or something. I'm not sure what you're going for in that one.
I just picked it out and was like, fuck it, we're gonna go with it. This ain't a beauty pageant. We here to fight, so let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, dude, like Ding said, great to see your personality. Great to see more of it come to life. I mean, you're 2-0 right now. I'm sure you get a ton of confidence in line. Who or what, anybody theoretically you'd like to see next? Obviously, we're going to see it a live event at some point. Is there anybody up there in the rankings that you think you would go up stylistically well against?
As far as anybody in the rankings, not really. Like I'd be happy to go against any of them, but what I think would make more sense for Power Slap itself is probably me and the Chief. Obviously from the show, he's had a lot of hype. I've had a lot of hype. So I mean, after this second match, so I feel like everybody would want to see us two face off from the show after the show ends in a live event. But I'd take anybody from any ranking. I like to start at the lower ranking, honestly, and just work my way all the way up, just so there could be no conversation about, oh, well, you didn't fight this guy, or maybe this guy can do it. I start from 10 and go all the way to 1.
Awesome, man. One last one. Where did you grow up? What part of the country?
I grew up in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
North Carolina? Okay.
Yeah, it's not about an hour from Raleigh. Pretty small place, boring, nothing here but a Air Force base. It's like retired old people.
Gotcha. Are you a Panthers fan?
No, I don't really get into football that much. I like to play football. I've never been a fan of watching it.
Gotcha. All right, man. Appreciate you, dude. Much love. You have a home here anytime. First time you're on, reach out anytime, okay?
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. You guys have a nice day, man.
Take care. Brother. All right.
What a guy.
Yeah, what a great guy for sure, man. Great personality. Definitely has a bright future ahead of him. What do you think of the prospects of him and the Chief? Potentially coming out Power Slap 9. Would that be something you'd welcome? Do you think it makes sense?
I don't want one of them to lose, man. Somebody's got to lose, and I just don't want it to happen yet.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Chief has that one loss because of the asterisk, but I don't know. I say those are guys that you converge later on. Let them build themselves, let them fight some talent, and let them see each other later down the line. I think those are two guys with bright futures. If Joshua can continue to keep it clean, I talked about it, his wind, everything that he just did up there. The fact that there was something to that wind up, right, came from his discus days. He's a high school wrestler. He was in the Army. I mean, combat instructor, dealt with the hand-to-hand. I mean, all of it, man. All of it. I like the kid. I like him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I thought was kind of unique too is, I watched it back and I forgot to ask him, but I wonder how tall he is. Because he actually, if you looked at his strike and you watched it back, he had to actually squat down quite a bit. I guess the tail of the tape would actually have it.
He was 6 foot and Rayden's 5'9", I believe.
Okay, gotcha. And I guess the Chief too. So actually, him and the Chief could stylistically be a good matchup. Actually, very similar builds, long arms between the two of them. So, yeah. But let's talk about the heavyweight matchup a little bit before we kind of get in here. So we got James Stonier going up against Brice Jones. James Stonier, obviously the veteran of the two athletes. We've seen him have some success and we've seen him have some fallbacks. Gets an opportunity to come back on the show to show his skill set. Brice coming in 9 pounds lighter than James in this particular matchup, aged the same. James got 3-inch height advantage and quite a substantial slap score differential. We're looking at about 260
in favor of James
of Stonier. Correct. We do know, however, Brice Jones moved out to Vegas to pursue an MMA career, trains at Extreme Couture, tough guy in his own right. This match, and you heard Dana talk about it, these guys exchanging blows all the way to the bitter end. Do you think is it one of the better heavyweight matchups we've seen in the last little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the question is always, and we talked about this with Brice the first time he was on the show. The question is always not, can you dish one or can you take one? It's both. It's all of it, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a performance like Brice Jones has the first time, what happens the second time when he actually has to absorb a strike? That's always the question, and we get the answer. Mm-hmm. He's not invincible, but he's also no slouch, and I think that's probably closer to one of the performances you would want to have and the experience that you would want to have in your first few matches. The only issue is, I think that fight could have gone either way. Personally, as they were announcing the decision, even reading the comments, I was like, I don't know who won this. And I think Dana and Frank said the same. Like, how do they score this? Tough fight to score.
Absolutely. James Stonier, ranked number 7 on the Power Slap website, showing him at 1-1. So, definitely a veteran, definitely a good test for Brice in this matchup. And I think it kind of gives us a really good example of kind of where he fits into this heavyweight division. We always talk about the levels, where it's at, how these new guys stack up against some of the OGs. And it's definitely a nice breath of fresh air to get some of these OGs like him and Darius, into the house to kind of see where these guys stand up against, the guys at Power Slap. But let's bring them in. Brice, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Awesome, man. Congratulations on pulling out the decision. Right off the bat, James, very tough competitor. Talk to me about what it was like going up against him and his toughness.
Oh yeah, I knew James was going to be a pretty tough guy. Like, especially with that first match with Cody, he was definitely not happy about that performance. So I knew he was going to really, really bring it to me. So yeah, I mean, and they kind of didn't show a lot of it. He got a little too drunk, we'll say, and he was calling me out pretty hard in the house. But, I just didn't really play into it. I just kind of chalked up to him being drunk. But
Talk to me about that high strike from James, because you knew it was high. You're calling it, and then all of a sudden it spurred a review.
Yeah,
but they still called it clean.
Yeah. I mean, when it hit me, I didn't even really feel it on my face. I just felt it in my eye. Like, I thought like his thumb went in my eye, but by the review of it, it didn't. He just hit me right square, like on that orbital bone, just like right in that sweet spot. I think only one of his fingers just kind of grazed. I think it was like his ring finger. So, but it definitely. I definitely didn't feel much of that slap. It was just all in my eye, just like felt like a lightning bolt went through my eye. So I really wasn't too worried about that slap at all, though.
I mean, James has massive hands on him for a guy. So, it's definitely going to take up a lot of real estate, on the placement for sure. But, going on the offensive side for you, slapping James in that first round, and, not putting him down in that first one. How did you feel about your slap? Did you think that you would be able to progressively get better as the match went on?
Yeah, that first slap I wasn't too happy with. I feel like I was like a little high, and I kind of like hesitated as I was swinging through. I can't remember what like caused the hesitation, but I remember like hitting it and being like, damn, I did not get that as clean as I wanted it to be. And he ate it pretty good. I could see in his eyes, it definitely kind of affected him. But, he kind of like stepped back and just kind of took a deep breath and then was like, oh, that ain't nothing, and just kind of walked off, But I knew when I went back up there, I was going to make the adjustment and hit him with a bit cleaner one, we'll say.
Yeah. Getting knocked down on the canvas. Have you ever been in that position before? Could you relate it to anything, or was it all new to you at that point?
No, I've been knocked down on the ground a few times, like in sparring and stuff. So that really wasn't. I don't even totally remember even getting knocked down. I think that's how fast I kind of got back up. I remember walking back to the podium, but I don't actually remember the knockdown of it. I think it's just part of that. I've been there before, so I just kind of just got over, and I'd already planned out, like, you know, how to get up, like, don't get up too fast, and, you know, make sure I have myself underneath, you know, as I'm getting up, and not stumble to make the ref call it instantly. You know, that was the biggest thing I was kind of worried about going into it, you know, getting called too quick, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, you're in the house, you see a guy like James Stonier there, you see a guy like Darius the Destroyer come in. You know, like, what's kind of going through your mind? Like, is that exciting you to get to go up against these OGs? Or do you have any? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted Darius, to be honest. When I seen his name up on the board, I was like, I hope that's the match that they make. It wasn't, but I definitely was like hoping that was going to be the one, because I actually didn't really know too much of James Stonier. I didn't really see any of his matches going into it. Trujillo showed me during like a training, so because I had no reference of James. So, but Darius, I knew what he was kind of bringing, and I knew that would be a good, you know, good match to go out there and show what I could really do, you know. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, Brice, congratulations, of course. Again, I mean, I mentioned it while you were backstage, man. What were your thoughts as the decision was about to get read out? Where was your head at? Were you confident? Were you unsure? Did you think he won? What were your head? What was your head?
I felt like I had won, just kind of based off of when he got knocked down. He kind of was down there for a little bit longer than me. I kind of just got up and just went back to the podium. It was like, I'm good, you know. He kind of sat down there for a little bit, and then kind of, I can't remember if he took a knee or not, but it just seemed like it was taking him a lot longer to recover and stuff. So, and then it took him much longer to get back to the podium. I just walked right back up to it. You know, I was ready. So I think that probably was what kind of put it in my edge, that, you know, I didn't hang out at the podium. I just kind of went right back to it, and it's like, let's get it, you know, let's take this next one.
Yeah, so you had a rare opportunity, being that you were able to fight somebody who's actually already ranked. So he's sitting right now as we speak at number 7. So what do you think makes the most logical sense in fairness, given that you beat him, for yourself?
I mean, you can give me anyone in the top 5. I feel like I can compete with any of those guys, and I feel like I pretty much handled my business exactly the same as I did James. So, I mean, obviously, Dorian, that's the guy I want. Like, I hope they make that shit happen. Whether it's Abu Dhabi or if it's in Vegas or wherever, you can just make that shit, and I'll be there. So.
Yeah, and then final one, Corey mentioned this a little earlier. I mean, this is quite a significant advantage, and some people don't buy into the whole slap score thing. We've sort of questioned it ourselves.
Yeah.
But there's quite a big differential. Now that this has gone on the way it's gone on, what are your thoughts on the slap score's legitimacy and how much it really plays into the outcome of a fight?
I don't think it does. I mean, I watched James when he hit that thing. I mean, he twisted pretty hard. I mean, he definitely cracked that thing pretty damn hard. But he definitely put a little, you know, like, if they were to sit there and like actually judge us as we're swinging on that thing, and if it was in a better setup, because the setup was, I thought, kind of terrible for us. But he probably wouldn't have had as big of a score. And honestly, I probably would have had a little bit better score. You're basically just scoring me just like arm slapping the thing, not really putting any kind of technique or doing anything. So hopefully they let me retest my slap score and do it again, because I feel like it's kind of misleading to anyone that actually does look at those, and then any of my opponents that look at it, you know, they're going to kind of come into it like, oh, he's not going to hit me that hard. But the fact of it is, I hit just as hard as James Stonier or any of them, you know. So I mean, you can put that chin on the line and find out, but trust me, I hit hard. Trust me.
Yeah, man, I think we saw it. Let's talk through this fight, man, and just kind of as it goes on, just let us know kind of where your head was at. What were you thinking? You know, as much as you're obviously able to remember.
All right, sounds good.
So obviously, you get to strike first.
Yeah.
You chose right on 1, I think.
Yeah. I didn't train that way, but I picked up that when I got on the show from Pono. Yeah, I feel like I went a little too high. I kind of hesitated and ended up a little high.
Did you did that concern you at all for two reasons? One, you thought maybe it was a foul, or two, he obviously didn't seem to be bothered by it.
I definitely didn't think it was a foul. I landed pretty flat with my hands, so I wasn't worried about it being a foul. I was definitely up there of it being too high, but I was kind of on the line there. I just didn't feel like I had as much power as I needed on it, and then the placement it bugged me. So I just was like, well, fuck, on to the next one. Let's take this hit from him, So I didn't really pay much mind. I was like, I got 2 more rounds with him, so I'll get a good one on him. So.
All right, now we see obviously Stonier is coming back.
Also, his windup kind of threw me off a hair too.
What about it?
I didn't really. When he kind of brings his hand, when he kind of turns, you don't really see where he's coming from exactly. So when he did hit me with that one, I thought he kind of came up really high, but he didn't. I just, it ate me pretty good on that one, for sure. That was probably like his best slap of the match right there. That slap.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, man, I think you recovered well. There's a provision in the rules that talks about flash knockdowns not being really scored as knockdowns. So if you get up instantly, they sort of disregard it as a knockdown, which I think is interesting. You probably, I mean, I'm no judge, but you probably stood down a second or two too long for that. But still, you did get up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I just took like a good breath when I was sitting down, and then just got up to one knee, took a breath, got up. Feeling pretty fine.
You did right on one again.
Got a lot more on him.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have brung it up just a hair, but it's also like the way I'm like hitting him and then pushing through. It causes my hand to like hit him and then like come back and then like kind of go underneath their face. It's almost like when I'm spacing on his name. It's that karate chop one.
Darren Godfrey.
Yeah, Godfrey. Same thing. It's like his hand hits flat, but then him trying to drive through, it causes your hand to kind of turn. So it looks like I fouled him or something, but I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I mean, you did a great job keeping your feet down. You didn't even do the minor heel lifting, excuse me. Which I always commend guys on because I know how difficult it is to distribute your energy and your power that much, especially you big guys.
Yeah, I mean, I worked super hard on that. Anytime I was practicing and I lift up my heel, I made it a point to address it. And basically, before I moved on in the session, I would do say 5 different slaps, keeping my feet down. Like, just really drilling that because I knew like I have a lot of power, so I knew like if I had dropped anybody and my foot came up, they're gonna call it. So I just really worked on it. Yeah, that one that's the one he got me in the eye a little bit.
Yeah, your reaction was more like a sting versus like a hurt.
Yeah,
you just kind of the pain of the slap. Anytime guys get hit in the eye, they always don't have a good reaction to it.
Yeah, like the actual like hit on me wasn't that bad. It was just that stinging through the eye. It was a little rough, but
yeah. So now you're on this third one. So obviously, I think round 1 you lost, round 2 you won. So this is what it comes down to.
Yeah, that one I got a little too high too. It was just I couldn't see well enough to like that stinging in my eye was still going on. I was just trying to push through it. Yeah.
So in the beginning, he absorbs your strike. It looks like it does something to him, but then he just recovers without really moving, which surprised me. But that's the reason why.
James is real good about like standing firm and just trying to breathe and not having much of a reaction. Like, I guarantee every one of those, he would be like, "Damn, that shit hurt."
Now, the last thing I'll ask about the fight specifically, he was hitting you left. Did that matter at all? Obviously,
A
you
little
had
bit.
hit before that, but was that, obviously that's an awkward. Most people don't expect to get hit on their left side.
Yeah, I'd say it did a little bit
Well,
because
it'd
I
be your
kind
right
of
side, but you know what I mean.
I didn't realize he was lefty at first. And then like when I watched his back, I was like, oh shit, he is left-handed. So as soon as I got up there, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of adjust to that because I didn't really practice too much getting hit like on the left on the defense of things. But moving forward, I'll definitely put that in there.
Yeah, so I think it just came to a matter of what the judges thought was a reaction to the slap versus some of the attributes of the slap itself, which in your case was kind of hitting you in this area, maybe the eye even going over or something, the finger going over the eye. So, it seemed like most people agree. But again, going into round 3, that was the round that you needed. And depending on what the judges saw from that, I think what really is what made the win yours. But you got a unanimous decision, so I think that's big.
Yeah. A win's a win, and I think I pulled it through just on our knockdowns and just taking the overall of it. I think I definitely squeezed it out.
Awesome, Brice. Great hearing from you. I know we're going to see you up there again. Darius Destroyer would be a phenomenal match. Hopefully we see you over there in Abu Dhabi. If not, back in Vegas, we know December 10th is going down. Power Slap keeps on rolling. We got 3 events right now.
They call me, I'm there, so it don't matter.
You just got to jump in the car and roll down. You could be there in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Awesome, buddy. Take care, man. Appreciate you joining us. You're welcome anytime. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Much love.
Appreciate you.
Cheers, brother.
All right. There's actually something I just thought about real quick there. And I wonder, we'd have to go back and look at it, but both strikers with a right and a left, you are going to get compromised on the same side. And I'm wondering, when you strike, you deliver, if, as Brice talked about, having the eye blurry on the same side. So he was striking with his right. He was getting hit on the right side of his face from James, not able to see his placement. I wonder if you have a left on right matchup, if there is any actual proof to leading to either one more fouls or more flinches because of the impact to that side of the face and blurring the vision. We have to go back.
It's a good point. It's kind of like orthodox, southpaw, and our next guest will know a lot about that. But I think it's a good point. I think it's a good point for sure, and it's something that we'll have to look at as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's dive back on it. Let's not let that one go through the cracks, and we'll get back into it. But Mr. Kanekoa, how you doing?
What's up, gentlemen? I'm doing great.
Really good. Great to have you back on the show. We see you pull out another great performance. How good you feel about that one?
Shitty at the same time because I got to know the guy that I was competing against. But in this sport, like I said before, you have to be malicious. You're coming here for a reason. Felt great with the win, walking away with another W.
Yeah. Last time I'm going to ask you, and then we'll move on. But Brandon Kerr, we see a little bit more of it. Give me 20 seconds, your true thoughts on the whole thing, seeing the footage back.
This kid is just, he's a professional gamer from, what I'm experiencing right now with this kid. He had nothing against me. He was going to end up on the canvas too. But, there's some news in the future with him and I. Hopefully it falls through. But at the same time, this kid is not on my level, like I keep telling everyone, even him. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on him. That's the 20 seconds that I have.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen you give a lot of respect to Keifer Roberts for stepping in last minute so that you get that fight. Talk to me about the courage, I guess, that it takes. I'm sure in your MMA career, you probably stepped up last minute too. But talk to me about that and truly how much respect you have for him filling in.
Absolutely. A lot of respect. And, coming in and having to cut weight the way that he had to do it, I give you nothing but respect because of that. And I've been there before, being in that predicament of cutting weight, fucking 30 pounds, sometimes 35 or more right before a match. It's not great for you psychologically, physically. So coming in and taking a match last minute, I give him nothing but respect for that.
Absolutely. He's, sharing the same thing, echoing in the comments section there as well. it's showing you weight in here 191.5, kind of in that middle kind of tweener spot. Where does that really leave you? Where are you most comfortable? And like, I mean, obviously we've seen you at 180 or 185. I guess this was a catch weight to kind of soften that blow. What did you do? Did you kind of just eat a couple Big Macs and drink a couple gallons of water and away you go?
Nah, I just had a couple fucking micheladas, my guy,
Okay.
and some good steak. I believe Alan was cooking up, like, he was the only one that had like grade A elk, I believe, or something else, but that was really fucking great, and I wasn't gonna miss out on that, of course not. And we also had like a competition, like a food eating competition on the show that I was the judge of. So having that access to that food, I was going to enjoy myself, knowing that, Keifer wasn't going to make the weight, or he has to cut, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to match this guy. So there's no sense at me sticking around at 185. I hit 185 like 3 days before the weigh-in, and I always walk around at that weight class. So I feel comfortable, and that way I can eat and I get to replenish throughout the camp.
Yeah. So how does Alan Klingbeil get elk and the rest of you don't?
You just got to put it on the list. I believe it was something else, though. It was like really
bison.
great.
He said bison.
Yeah, it was bison. That shit was awesome.
Okay, so Alan was a little bit more clever, I guess, in getting some of the exotic meats.
Well, everyone was picking like certain food and stuff. By the way, there was a shit ton of fucking chocolate milk in that house. I've never seen a bunch of grown men drinking a shit ton of chocolate milk.
I was gonna say,
like, what the fuck? But it was great. I mean, the experience overall was amazing. And if you were smart enough to go into the house with the right things that you need for a camp, then utilize it to your fullest, right? And that's what the production is for. They're going to give you, we have this like paper that you could write on top to request anything. And I believe, Hercules, he was talking about getting a haircut. We got a haircut and somewhat, and also massages. And so that was the things that we needed to utilize for our competition. A good haircut, looking great, a massage before going into battle, feeling great. That's how you should show up of your performance or wins.
Awesome, man. One last one for me. I'm not sure if you've seen it earlier, but obviously we had Josh Newsom on the show, and he actually believed that his next match should be against you. Is that something you'd welcome, and how great do you think that would be?
I would love it. I mean, if our stars align, I just messaged him too. Like, he's a really great kid. He kept it to himself throughout the whole show. Super humble. So I know the most humble guys are the ones that you have to look out for. So I mean, I don't mind, but at the same time, you're going to have to match my energy, my guy, because I am the person that everyone wants to see at the end of the day.
Yes, sir. Ding, over to you.
Chief, congratulations, man. Obviously, you're somebody that we're all very excited to see. Obviously, you had that good performance in your first fight, but there was that little asterisk. So I'm sure for you, it was a pleasure to be able to kind of remedy that, if you will, right? Get in the win column. Now, I didn't commit to not talking about Brendan Kerr. That was Corey. So my only question is, you got to deliver the news that he was out of the house. How did that all come together, and why was that privilege bestowed upon you?
Well, then again, like I said, I'm walking into the house with this dog mentality, knowing that I'm going to take over. And it's not just take over, in my division, but it's also to take over and show my dominance as the chief. And that's the reason why I was given the privilege to, put your name on the board. I put several other fighters' names on the board. I believe they left that out, but this is the chief show. This season is the chief show, and I'm here to take over, not to take part, right?
Yeah, man, and just a second question from me related to that. What was it like, being in the house with your brother? Obviously, you're in your own a world of your own there, because you're the only person that had that experience. But your blood brother's in the house, and you're getting into scuffles, and I know for him that was emotional. Obviously, he didn't really get into any scuffles that we saw per se. Obviously, he had some words with a couple of people, and he was in the middle of some scuffles between other people. But what were your thoughts just generally, knowing that you have a true ally, right? Your brother in the house with you as these things are all happening.
Amazing. You know, having someone that I can trust and know that's going to get my back no matter what, that's the best feeling in the world. But at the same time, I'm a man, you know, I'm a man of combat, of blood and violence. And so he knows that I can defend my own and, you know, fucking I was there to be the bad guy, I guess, if everyone wants to call me the villain or portray me as the villain, whatever. It is what it is. And you know, coming into the show, I had one thing to do, and that's to start drama as much as possible because that's what the fans want. They don't want people to be like, "Hey, brother, this and that." Like it's more than that, you know. The fans want to see a show. The fans want to see action at the ending of it. That's what they're tuning in for every single week. So that's what I came there for. Having my brother on the show, amazing because it's not just myself, but it's another fellow Hawaiian that's on the same platform as myself and many other Hawaiians too.
Amazing, man. All right, let's I mean it's short, but let's go through your fight. You guys are pretty close in attributes. I mean, all things considered, right? I think look, so you see that respect that you just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any concern? I mean, you don't know this guy. Obviously, you know he's having a weight cut, but did you have any respect for you know that he might be able to do something major to you?
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, coming off from a weight cut because I'm familiar with it. Coming off from a weight cut, you're not coming into the fight 100%. You're coming into the fight.
Let's see here. So,
No worries.
That was a good one. So you like go slowly. You're like this will be quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was an interesting one, right? Because he wasn't like out per se or anything like that. He looked like he was a little on his feet. But the reason it gets stopped is not the reason you would think, right? It's more because he what he says to the doctor, right, about his sight, about his hearing. Were you surprised by the stoppage given from his reaction, right? Obviously, I don't know if you can you hear what he's saying to the doctor or anything in that? Okay. So you're kind of able to follow it in real time.
I knew already by the time he got up from the 8 count that, especially wobbling, that his mind was not there fully. And he didn't, I mean, if we had more time on the board to recover for sure, he probably would have stepped up to the plate again. But again, it's just one and done for me. To elaborate on that strike, if you notice me throwing a lot slower than my first fight in Power Slap, that's because I have a lot of respect for my opponent. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We all have a family. We have kids that look up to us. We have people that we have to go home to, you know. So I'm not trying to end his world and, you know, put him out cold. No, I want him to get up and have a drink with me after, or, you know, like share a conversation with me. I don't want to put someone in the hospital and then knowing that, damn, fuck, this guy has a family back home and I just ended his, you know, career. But that wasn't going to happen. That's the reason why there's some resilience on that slap. I held back a little bit. So again, going against my next opponent, it's not going to happen. And I'm going to say this now. It's always going to be measure on one and done.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, we just did a full-blown interview, you and Corey, just I think either a couple of days ago or last week. That's released. So for anybody who hasn't seen that full interview, we get to see and hear more from you. You know, we'll be looking forward to the news about you and Brandon Kerr. I know you alluded to it a minute ago. And so, you know, a class act. Again, happy that you were able to get into the win column. And, you know, we look forward to watching your career, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
Awesome, man. Take care, dude.
Talk soon.
Thanks, buddy. All right, Ding.
Last and certainly not least.
Yes, let's bring him in.
He's been waiting for a while.
The man, the myth, the legend. Do we got a semi beard on him today?
Yeah. It's a semi beard. This is
all right.
It's on his way back.
My man, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Good. How's the health of the beard coming along? And is it starting to feel more like yourself?
It's hit that stage where I just don't like it. It's not long enough yet, but it's not, you know, at least I ain't got skin showing now. So, I mean, it's getting there.
Awesome. What do you think of the show so far? Let's get your recap.
So I have not watched the episodes yet. I've been watching the matches, like the clips and stuff, but I have not watched the actual show yet. I try to wait for it to all come out so I can sit there and binge watch every one of them on my day off. So I have not watched the shows yet, but I've been watching the matches, and I like the matches, especially as we're getting later into the season rather than at the beginning. So I think they've been pretty great.
Yeah. What do you think of the prospects of a guy like Alan Klingbeil going on to Road to the Season 3? Do you think that's right for him in his career in the light heavyweight division right now?
I think so. I mean, he came off of, a good win, his last one. And then I know before he had a loss, but I know they've been kind of like using him in like just filling spots. So I'm glad that he can get onto the show and, try to get his name back out there again and try to, get up there in the rankings and stuff.
Absolutely. But some guys that you're familiar with, we get Austin Turpin versus Russell Rivera in Abu Dhabi, officially announced. What's your thoughts on that match?
I think it'll be a tough matchup. I see he's over there just dying laughing.
Tough for
Russell
who?
hits hard. Russell's got a little bit of a step issue that I know he's been working on. Turpin hits pretty hard, but he's got a bit of a club issue that he's working on. So I mean, really, it's going to be, to me, who's not going to foul. So because they both hit good and they both got good chin, so I think it'll come down to who keeps it clean.
Can we get an early prediction from you?
I guess my wife says Russell's going to win. She's already picked all the winners for every matchup that's going on that night.
Awesome. All right. So we've got Wolverine's wife taking Russell Rivera in this one. Awesome. Well, I mean, if you haven't seen the show, we get to see a little bit more of Austin's personality kind of unfold in this one. I'll have to ask you later what you think about his coaching style versus yours and, his moment in the limelight. So we'll shelve that one for a later topic. But
I mean, from what I have seen in the little clips and from what I've heard with the other guys talking about his coaching, we can talk about that later. But it's a lot different.
Mm-hmm. You've had a bit of time away now. Do you think it's been what's needed for you? We haven't heard anything about Abu Dhabi. Probably a little bit late to see a third title match. But you feeling good health-wise? Everything ready? Could we see you on a future event, whether it be in December or potentially in Saudi Arabia?
Absolutely. I'm hoping. I mean, I haven't got it confirmed yet, but I'm hoping to be back in December. I mean, it's great. It's been great to have time away. I mean, we've had court stuff going on for kids and just personal stuff going on. So it's been great to have time away, not have to worry about nothing. But I'm ready to get back to it. It's been
awesome, man.
9 months now. So
yeah. Ding.
Ron, I'll help you out, man. If you want to know a little bit about Austin Turpin's coaching, these are some of the highlights we posted.
Jay's got an issue with his chin. He might love the sport. He might want to do it. This and that's all good, but he might just be better off a fan. Jair's an MMA guy. He talks the talk of being tough. He can take a hit. This isn't like mixed martial arts. You're not dodging. You're not eluding. You're not missing the shot. You're going to get hit. Mark don't belong here. Mark should be making pizza somewhere. It's not an age thing for you, buddy. It's just who you are. Tyler, he had the big old fucking bearded bitch look. But, to reiterate, this ain't for everybody. I had lots of hope for Dale walking up there, but he got the talking done. And when it came to it, he just couldn't walk it up there. I knew right away that boy Jenkins was getting knocked out.
Because Hona's a big dude. Hona's got some power. He's coming in there to fucking knock dude out.
Let him fall. Let him fall. He's about to fall. Four. He's about to be falling.
Devin was another one of those guys running his mouth, talking shit, doing all the barking. But that's only going to do you so much. You're going to get up on that stage, and there's not going to be much more left to be said.
All right. Will you ever hear all that?
Damn.
Please tell me you were. Could you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just to give you context, those were all his guys that he was talking about. Those were people that were on his team after their matches.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to be, being coached that way, and then you're trying to talk me up, and I just happen to lose, and you just shit all over me. I mean, that would kind of upset me a little bit, because my thing is, I mean, everybody loses. This is not a sport where you're going to go undefeated. I mean, at some point you will lose, and I mean, no reason for somebody to shit all over you about it. I mean, it's going to happen, especially new guys. I mean, they're learning how to take a hit, how to, strike right. They're learning everything. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess my way of thinking is a little different than people's.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Corey just touched on the Russell Rivera versus Austin Turpin happening a month from yesterday. I guess if there's so it will be 30 days or so. Let's play this out in longevity. Obviously, all things considered, you would think that Vern's kind of the next guy for you.
Yes, sir.
But if Austin is able to get this done, do you think? Well, let's not even say if Austin gets this done. Let's just say in general, from your perspective, do you think you see Austin again?
I think I do. Saying I win against Vern, I think I do see Austin again. I don't know if it'll be like, if we're saying that I go against Vern, in December or in January, I don't know if I see him at the next one, but I think I do see him at, in the near future. But same thing goes for Russell. I think whoever wins that match is probably, in my opinion, going to be looking at who goes against, if me and Vern go at it, which I would assume since he's number one contender. I would think whoever's the winner of that one will go against whoever's the winner of us. So going by the rankings anyway.
And obviously, you have quite the history with Austin Turpin. You haven't had a match this year that didn't involve him. Do you think he makes weight?
For the one against Russell or for me?
For the one against Russell.
I'd like to hope so. I mean, I would think he'd be pushing it. I would think he, happened once, it sucks. It happened twice. That's got to feel worse, but I mean, surely 3 times it won't happen. I mean, so I'd like to hope he makes weight, but I don't know. If he's walking around like he was that 250, 260 when we coached and then trying to lose all that weight. I mean, even like the guest just said last time, I mean, losing 30, 35 pounds is tough. To lose 50, 60 pounds is, I mean, that's damn near impossible. I mean,
and then final one for me, man. Always great to talk to you. Obviously, you've got quite the crowd in here watching and listening. Did you get a chance to see Darius? Obviously, I know that's a guy that you got quite the history with. You guys are sort of the, I guess I'll call them pioneers of Power Slap, right? Being the first coaches. And this all kind of rested on your ability in the first season to make all of those things happen between you guys, the cast, obviously the promotion. He has the run where he loses to you, obviously in his first fight. Then he loses 2 additional fights. And now he gets on the show, is able to get a win. I mean, have you seen anything of that? And then also, what are your thoughts just kind of his trajectory and his career and where it goes from here?
I did watch that one because, I mean, as you said, me and Darius been doing this for a long time, even before Power Slap. So, I made sure to watch that one. I'm glad, he got it done. I'm hoping this will be a bounce back for him. I'm hoping, I know he can work his way back up to the top. I mean, he's just got to push through and keep going. But I'm really hoping that eventually, I mean, it won't be right away, but I'm hoping eventually we'll get to see the Bell and Darius matchup. I mean, I know, that's pre-Power Slap stuff, but that was a match that I wanted to see before Power Slap, and it's a match I would love to see on Power Slap. So I think Darius has a great chin, and I know the Bell hits hard. So I'd love to see him at the top, and I'd love to see them two compete.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely great to see Darius get back in the winning ways. Obviously, we talked early on, had some issues adjusting to the rule set in Power Slap. You got to think that's behind him now. Do you think he's figured it out? And do you think, maybe prediction, the Bell versus Darius under Power Slap rules, how would that play out?
Man, I like Darius, but I like the bell too, and I would never put my money against the bell. No offense to Darius, it's just I got to witness firsthand what the bell can do, and yeah, my money's on the bell all the time for any opponent.
Let me ask you this: do you think anybody beats the bell, or do you think he walks away on his own terms and retires undefeated in Power Slap?
I think it depends on how long he goes. I mean, obviously he keeps taking hits and hits, I mean, because Ryan did good against him. I mean, I'm not cutting Ryan, anything about that. So, I mean, Ryan did great against him. I think it just depends on how long he goes. He goes into his mid 30s, early, tries to get up to 40. I think he'll lose. But if he just goes to, around 30, that's another 10 years for him. I mean, yeah, I think he stays undefeated.
Gotcha. Who hits harder, Austin Turpiner or the bell?
The bell. I have never been hit in Power Slap, Slap Fight Championship, or MMA as hard as the bell hits. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, bud.
I'll say, what do you think it is? Because he's a pretty unassuming, nice guy. What is it about him and his technique that he has?
It's crisp. He takes his time. He doesn't, try to, distract you. He doesn't try to distract himself. I mean, you see that big wind up, he's a tall, big guy. You see his arm reach back almost all the way to the floor. I mean, he takes his time and he's precise with everything. And yeah, he's the top guy in my opinion.
Yeah. We're about 18 months now, 19 months into Power Slap. Talk to me about where the state of Power Slap was after Road to the Title 1 versus where it is now. Do you feel like it's in a healthier space now than it was before?
I do. I mean, if you look, I mean, they're getting it approved everywhere for us to start traveling around. I mean, they're traveling to, Abu Dhabi and all the other states that are approving it. I mean, after the first Road to the Title, I mean, everybody was still talking bad about it, which people still talk bad about it. But I mean, you got a lot of people now that recognize people that are watching it, that can't wait to see the next one, that are, I mean, what was it, Power Slap, the last one, Power Slap 8, where, I mean, they sold like 3,000-4,000 tickets. So, I mean, you got people wanting to come see it now. It's grown a lot and it's grown for the better. And I mean, you got all these people that are, putting their own, personalities into it and attracting, new crowds, for themselves and for Power Slap.
Yeah. I mean, we see them keep tweaking the rules as it goes along. If you look back from where it was, at the trials where guys were literally jumping 2 feet in the air sometimes, the amount of clubs that were taking place to where we are now. Do you think we're getting closer to having it right?
I think we're getting closer. I don't know if they're quite there yet. I'd like to see them take that, into consideration a bit more. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all professionals. You shouldn't need, I think the rule now is still 2 clubs. I mean, you shouldn't need 2 clubs. I mean, on the second one, you should be out. That's for even title matches or 3-round matches. I mean, I think we're about there, but I think they should tweak the rules just a little bit more.
Gotcha. So I'm going to ask you this one. Do you think you're almost too clean of a striker for this rule set? And I don't want to say you should go up there and club somebody, but should you add a little bit more hand? Because you are very much a fingertip striker per se.
Yeah, I've seen the comments on that. I mean, and I am. I don't try to use the bottom of my hand. I mean, that's a punch pretty much. I mean, it's called slap fight. So I'm slapping you with my palm and my fingers. I mean, when somebody slaps you, I mean, they're not, hitting you with everything they got. They're just slapping you to make a mark on you. So maybe I do need to use more hand. I've been told that, but we'll see.
We'll see. I'll tell you one last one for me, a little story. I still think my favorite Ron memory is after your victory, you go in the corner and you pull the big dip out, put it in your lip, and then have the commission tackle you. I think is one of my all-time favorite moments from you, my man.
Yeah, they were not happy with that. I didn't realize that wasn't something we could do. So
Yeah, you can take you out of Missouri, but you can't take the Missouri out of Ron. Love you, buddy.
well, I mean, I just trying to play my own, I mean, everybody else plays a character. I mean, I just tried to play my own, and yep,
Yeah.
I got in trouble for that one.
Awesome, man. Ding, anything else for Ron before we let him go?
Yeah, I'm curious, Ron. Obviously, we know a lot about Abu Dhabi coming up October 24th. We got Power Slap 10 at Fontainebleau, December 6th, and then we have Saudi Arabia January 30th. There's going to be 4 additional events at Fontainebleau next year. Dana said he confirmed it, and I believe it was in the chat during the show that Miami was in play. He said UFC, Power Slap, and Nitro Cross were going to be going to Miami. Fontainebleau has a property in Miami which covers that deal that they have. What are your? I mean, if you had obviously you're from Arkansas, so not a crazy city or anything like that. You fought in Vegas. You haven't been in front of the massive crowd yet, right? The 3,500 people. I mean, the energy in there, we can tell you, was insane.
It looked like it.
Yeah. Do you have any preference of which of those cards you'd want to be on and what destination, kind of for your first experience being in front of the massive crowd?
I like Vegas and Miami. I'm not too big on going to Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi. I mean, I would go if I was told to, but I'm not, trying to sign up for it on my own. They go to London, I'd like to go there. But other than that, I mean, anywhere in the States is fine with me. I mean, I like Miami. I got family down there, so that'll be a nice little getaway. And then, I love Vegas. It's kind of like my second home. I've gotten used to it. So, yeah.
Man, it's always great to hear from you. It's a rare opportunity. We appreciate you obviously here, and you just kind of being a guy that's available to us. We appreciate your time. And man, I think I share in majority of the fan bases. I mean, there's one guy that doesn't seem to like you at all. I won't call him out; he's a fan, but he doesn't seem to be a Wolverine fan. But besides that, I think everybody generally, is really excited to see you get back up there, man. And what seems like might be next would be Vern.
Yeah, I mean, that's what seems like it'd be next. And I mean, yeah, I'm excited to try it. I mean, I got something to prove to myself, let alone to other people. So
I just actually figured out, I just clued into something. Ding brought it to my attention, didn't connect the dots. I can't pull it up in time here, but when you watch the episode, Austin's going to drop a one-liner that I didn't realize has a connection to you. I don't know if you want to give it to him, Ding, or you want to let him watch the episode, but it was definitely an interesting comment that was made.
Yeah, so I think Brice Jones. Brice, you're still here. Thanks for watching us, man. You're from Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I believe Austin was saying Brice was on Trujillo's team. So Austin's guy, James Stonier, was facing Brice. And I think he said something to the effect of, I don't like nothing from Arkansas. Arkansas is where they make pussies or something like that. Something to that effect.
Yeah, it was to that effect. Yeah.
So 2 Arkansas guys right here, man. That's awesome. Representing.
Yeah.
Hey, did you make weight for your match? I mean, if you did, then that's all that's important. At least we know how to make weight. So we're good.
I was heavyweight, so I didn't have to worry about it.
I almost feel like, Brice, you got to grow your beard out now, because I mean, I think this is the Arkansas look. You guys look pretty similar, I think.
Yeah, I'll grow my mustache. We'll get the similar look going.
I'm actually blown away because Ron just said he loves Vegas. Brice moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been to Arkansas. I'll be honest with you. I'm from New York City, so I'm Vegas is the same type of stuff. Like, what is Arkansas like, and how do you like Vegas? I would assume it's the opposite.
Oh, it's definitely 2 different places, which when I first moved here, it was a lot better. It was like the biggest, smallest city I've ever been to. It had that very small town home feeling, like by like spots of Vegas, but now it's grown so big. I kind of don't like it as much as I used to. One day I probably will kind of maybe end up around that area again, So.
Where in Arkansas are you from?
I'm from Paragould, Arkansas, right there next to Jonesboro. I've been up to Mountain Home a bunch of times. My family actually has a cabin kind of not too off the river from there in Mountain Home. So I've been up there a bunch. So.
Well, there you go, Ron. You're not alone anymore, man. There's another Arkansasian. I don't really know. I don't know what we would call you guys.
They mostly just call us rednecks.
Well, so I actually just pulled up real quick. So we've got some Arkansas slang words. I want to see if you guys are truly Arkansas. You know,
we're filling this shit.
All right, let's see. Bowed up. What does that mean?
I mean, I've heard that shit, but it's not a phrase I'd use.
Is it bowed up or bowed up?
Oh, it might be bowed up. Sorry. Yeah.
Canadian.
I'd be more like, let's sack up and let's get it, gentlemen.
Okay, so sack up would be your cup of tea.
So what does that even mean?
Grab them big old pears you think you got, and let's get it.
Gotcha. I love this. We're learning a new language called Americana here today. Spun up.
Spun up? Never heard that one.
No, worked up, which Austin Turpin did to Wolverine one time, which was also.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're getting me spun up or something to that effect.
Yeah. I mutter than a wet hen.
I've heard it, but not really a phrase out of my mouth. But I've heard it.
You don't want to pull out in Vegas? I'm mutter than a wet hen.
I mean, I probably could. They wouldn't understand me either way. That time people are like, what the fuck did you say?
Awesome. Let's see this one. That boy ain't got a sense of God, gave a goose.
Oh, I've heard that 1,000 times.
So what does that mean? Ron?
I'll let Ron get this one.
I guess in simple terms, he's dumb. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I've heard it, but it's not something like he said. That's not something I'm gonna use. I mean,
dude, you should have called that to Austin. You had multiple times you could have. You could have pulled out one of the greatest lines. Come on, man.
I'll let the shit talking be to him. I don't need the shit talk. I still have the belt. So that's shit talk enough.
All right. My belly thinks my throat's been cut.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
All right, that's a made up one, I guess.
Yeah.
Do they call you guys Arky? Is that a thing? Like an Arky? Call you?
I've never heard that. I always get Arkansas, and I go, that's a different place, man.
All right, I think those are the main ones I see. All right, we got to get some history, some Americana. I know. Do you guys call it English language or do you call it American?
English.
Yeah, English.
You speak English? Okay. Because I have met guys
I mean, we barely speak it, but I mean.
Okay. I have met people from the Midwest, and they're like, I speak American. So you never know. Awesome, guys. Appreciate you. Much love, all right?
All right.
Back anytime. Take care. All right, Ding. Let's finish it up. We always seem, after we get past that hour mark, we seem to get goosey-loosey here and get into the slang. We start going down a path we shouldn't. I say things we shouldn't. I put bounties out there that I probably shouldn't. And, but if you watch the end of the show, usually you get the best stuff at the very end, I think, all the time.
Yeah, it's like slap news uncensored.
Exactly. We should have like a 2-minute clock where it's like whatever gets said in these last 2 minutes, don't hold against us.
That was cool having two Arkansasians, whatever you would call that, in the same at the same time. That was a coincidence because Brice stuck around.
Absolutely. Awesome, my man. Appreciate everybody who stuck around. We love you all. If you made it to this point, we're an hour and 15 minutes in, whether you watch us on YouTube, Facebook, or on Rumble. We appreciate you. We'll be back again next week, coming to you Tuesday. Smack Talk Live, taking place 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. in the East. Until then, stay good, my man.